So you have your story. Now, how do you bring it to life? How do you actually verbalize it in a live setting in front of somebody? Maybe you're in an interview or you're talking with a potential customer or client. What happens there? Now you can start to create, you can start to bring in other stories from your past to help amplify it. And I learned this trick at a screenwriters conference in Los Angeles. This trick was super helpful in the screenwriting process. And so I got to hear some of the best writers from around the world talk about their own methodologies. And one guy in particular, his name is Christopher McQuarrie. Christopher McQuarrie wrote The Usual Suspects, an amazing movie. And his process was he had the idea for The Usual Suspects. And then what he did was he quite simply just had these 3x5 cards around. And anytime an idea that was related to that movie came in, he would just write it down. Write down one idea per card. Just write it down. And then eventually, the stack of 3x5 cards got tall enough that he would have to start to sort through them and put them in piles. And then those piles became scenes. And then eventually a movie was spit out on the other side of it. I'm obviously oversimplifying. And we're not necessarily writing a linear movie experience for you. But what we're doing is engaging in this cataloging process. Because you have the kernel of an idea with your story, now you can actually go back into your own catalog and your own personal experiences that you have and write down one experience per card, just like Christopher McQuarrie did. One experience per card. Who knows? Maybe you've got 50 experiences that help amplify your story. So they have to be related to your story. But 50 real lived experiences. Why do this? Why does this matter? Well, when you're telling a real life story, things change because you lived it. You bring in your own personality there. So that story can become funny. It can become poignant. It's usually going to be interesting. And if it's related to your brand story, your position, and what makes you different, this is going to be a way to be incredibly engaging with your audience, with your bullseye, but also strategic, because they're going to get the point about what your contribution was in that moment. So start off with 1, 2, 4 stories. And then as you think deeper about your real lived experiences, perhaps you're going to start to see that some of these experiences aren't necessarily work related. Maybe it's something that happened in the family, where you were expressing yourself much in the same way that you were expressing yourself in your brand story. Maybe it's something you were volunteering or a project you were doing, or maybe it's related to your hobby, or maybe you like to, even when you're on a hike or something with friends, something could happen where you could have a story that's related to that, and it makes it more real and engaging and natural in how you're coming across to your bullseye. So catalog one idea per card.